Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you? So, here's the thing. It's been a while, but I decided to come on and speak because Jackie has something to say. So, I want to talk about something that I was having a discussion with a friend on yesterday. And I was telling him a story about how I was taken from up under my covering. I remember a time where I used to go to church all the time. I would go to church on a Sunday, I would go to church on a Tuesday, and I would go to church on a Friday. So I would go to church Sunday morning for Sunday school. I would go to church Sunday afternoon for then I would go to the worship service at 11. Then I would come back and go to church on at evening church. And so at that time, at the age I didn't have no kids. I wasn't married or anything, but I chose to live a God-filled life. And I got to know who God was, and I developed a relationship with God. And it was a very strong relationship. I think at that time, God was proud of me as the woman I had become. And I was the type of person that had the bubbly personality. I was very loving and caring for people. And I was very soft. And when I say soft, I mean like soft and I had a very humbling spirit. I had a very kind spirit. And all of that came from the fact of what I was spending my time doing. I was always in church. I was young. So I remember when things, okay, it got cut off, okay. I remember when things started to go, started to become dysfunctional, or my life began to be disruptive in a way. And I didn't realize until it was too late that what caused the disruption, what caused the malfunctioning that was going on in my life was the fact that I had been separated from my source. I had disconnected from my source. And when I disconnected from my source, I became a different person. I wasn't kind anymore. I wasn't friendly anymore. I didn't have the humbling spirit anymore. And how it happened was very subtle because it didn't come all at once. It came in baby steps. I first stopped going to Bible teaching. Then I stopped going to pastoral teaching. Then I stopped going to Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening worship. Then I started going to Sunday school, but I was still going to my worship service. Okay, so it took months, but I was down to that one service. Now, it took months for me to go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It took months for me to go from being in church 5 days a week or 5 times a week to being in church 1 time a week. So what happened? My life started to malfunction. So what happened is I realized that it took 5 days a week for me to be up in that church learning about God, surrounded by God, for my life to work for me. I was connected to the right source. I was plugged into the right source. But then I started to make the decision to cut some of that out. And when I cut some of that out, I invited bad things into my life because I cut out the good things that I was doing. I stopped going to church as much. And when I stopped going to church as much, I malfunctioned. Dysfunction found its way in my life. My faith started to dwindle. My patience just left me. And my joy was stolen from me. So these things happened, and then my life began to malfunction. And I could never get it back. And when I realized what caused the malfunction, I tried to go back. But guess what? Things had changed. My mindset has changed. The feelings in my heart has changed, because now I've been through some heartbreak. Now I've been through some heavy times, some turmoil, some trauma. So when I tried to come back as I was a whole woman then. And then when I left my source, I became a broken woman. I became a bitter woman. So I tried to go back to that source, and I could not, because I had to now fix the broken pieces, delete or eliminate the bitter pieces. I had to sew me back together. And still to this day, I am working on sewing me back together, healing myself. It is a day-by-day journey, just like it was a baby step to get me from my wholeness. It's a baby step to bring me back to my wholeness. I'm still a work in progress, and I still have a destination to reach, and I'm not giving up. I'm not perfect, but I am making progress. Okay, so I just wanted to come on and give that little nugget. I call it a conquering key. Okay, so join me next time for another one. Share this message, like this message, love this message, and leave a comment. Have a beautiful morning.